The Adventures of the Little Turtle. Deep in the forest, a little turtle named Tuan Tuan was crawling slowly beneath the trees. Sunlight sparkled through the leaves and warmed his round, gentle shell. He had been walking for a long time, but he didn't feel tired, just curious. What could be ahead, he wondered. Eventually, the forest began to thin, and Tuan Tuan reached the foot of a quiet mountain far away. Nestled between green hills and clear waters stood a tiny temple glowing under the moonlight. Tuan Tuan blinked and whispered, "I wonder, is anyone there?" Even though he was a little shy, he kept moving forward step by step toward the temple. That night, a young monk was sitting alone in the temple, meditating. Everything was still. Only the soft rustling of bamboo leaves could be heard outside. Then, thump, thump, a gentle sound came from the courtyard. The monk opened his eyes and listened carefully. It wasn't the wind, and it wasn't rain. It sounded like someone coming closer. He felt a tiny flutter in his heart, not fear, but curiosity. He stepped quietly toward the temple door and softly asked, "Who's there?" Outside the door, Tuan Tuan stood with his head lowered and his feet tucked in politely. In a gentle voice, he said, "Hello, I'm Tuan Tuan. I came from the forest. May I please stay here for one night?" The monk looked at Tuan Tuan's round head and kind eyes. He smiled warmly. "You're a traveler. The night is chilly. Come inside." Tuan Tuan felt nervous, but the monk's voice was so kind. He nodded quietly and stepped into the temple. The monk led Tuan Tuan to a small, cozy room. A soft lamp glowed in the corner. Tuan Tuan lay down on a floor mat, and the monk handed him a clean cloth. "You can use this as a blanket," he said. "Thank you," Tuan Tuan whispered. "Was your journey long?" the monk asked. Tuan Tuan nodded. "I walk very slowly, but I keep going," the monk smiled. "It's okay to go slowly as long as you know your way." And with those gentle words, the two friends peacefully drifted to sleep. Tuan Tuan woke the next morning to a soft, flowing sound like water in a quiet stream. It was the monk, gently chanting. Sunlight streamed through the wooden window. Outside, bamboo trees swayed in the breeze. A little bird chirped sweetly from the roof. Tuan Tuan stayed still, watching the world quietly. Warmth filled his heart like sunshine. "This place feels like a dream," he whispered. After breakfast, the monk and Tuan Tuan sat on a stone bench in the courtyard. Tuan Tuan slowly began to tell his story. He spoke of thick forests, quiet creeks, fluttering butterflies, and even a singing tree. "Sometimes I felt scared," said Tuan Tuan, "especially at night. But I told myself if I just keep going, I'll find a way. The monk nodded. You're very brave, Tuan Tuan. Many walk fast, but few dare to walk alone. As the days passed, the monk shared stories from when he was small. He told Tuan Tuan how he once made a mess while sweeping the floor, how he couldn't sit still during meditation, and how he once snuck out to eat a sweet orange. Tuan Tuan giggled. You were scared to sit still too? Of course, the monk laughed. But I tried a little each day and I got better. They listened, laughed, and learned from each other like two clouds slowly floating closer. One morning, Tuan Tuan stood quietly at the temple gate, looking out at the mountain road. The temple was warm and safe, but something inside him felt unfinished. I still don't know who I am, he told the monk softly, or where I come from. I think I need to keep going. The monk didn't try to stop him. He simply said, That's your path, Tuan Tuan. You're walking to find yourself, and that's a beautiful reason. On the morning of goodbye, the sun was just rising. Tuan Tuan stood by the temple door, his little shell on his back. Are you sure you don't want to stay longer? The monk asked. Tuan Tuan shook his head. Thank you, my friend. You gave me rest and kindness. But I need to keep going to find more answers. The monk smiled and pulled out a tiny cloth pouch. There's a bit of food inside, he said, and a message I wrote just for you. Every step matters. Don't forget to read it. Tuan Tuan's eyes felt wet, but his heart felt strong. He turned toward the road. The mountain path was quiet and winding. Tuan Tuan took slow steps down the slope. He turned to look one last time. The monk was still standing at the temple gate, watching silently. Tuan Tuan didn't wave or speak. He just nodded. He knew this was not an end, but a new beginning. In his heart, he said softly, No matter how slow I go, I'll keep walking. Because I am Tuan Tuan, round, gentle, and always on my way. The adventures of little Tuan Tuan are far from over. Curiosity and courage can take you to new places, even if you move slowly. It's okay to ask for help. Kindness often follows courage. Everyone learns by trying, even if they're not perfect at first. True friendship gives us strength to keep walking, even when we part ways. Our journey is our own. Every small step is part of becoming who we are. Good night, Tuan Tuan.